with reaction is the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Clinton Cash, Peter Schweizer, Fox News contributor Sarah Carter, and also Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. All right. I want to get into the Weissman thing first, then I want to go back to yesterday's news, Sarah, if possible. Let's start with Weissman.
Well, what we have here, Sean, is basically two different stories. Now, one of the stories coming from sources is that Andrew Weissman was contacted by the AP. The AP wanted to meet with him, and they went to have this meeting at the DOJ on April 11th. And at this meeting, they were apparently going to share documents and information with Weissman and the other attendees at the meeting. But just before coming on the show, I spoke with a source familiar with this issue. Now, remember, the AP is categorically denying this claim that they were going to share any information with Weissman whatsoever. I got a call just before coming on your show with a source familiar with that meeting and said there were 5 AP reporters attending that meeting, that the reporters did not bring anything in with them whatsoever, no documents. They shared nothing with them. And in fact, the source said that there was a telephone call actually placed by one of the AP reporters on April 8th to Andrew Weissman saying, look, we're not going to share any documentation with you. We're not going to give you anything that we have on Paul Manafort.
Where's the recusal? Isn't he compromised? Isn't he prejudiced?
Well, this is the question. Why would he then lie about this, right? If this is the story coming from on Weissman's side, why? According to some of the sources that I've spoken with, there was a problem. He had set up this meeting without the appropriate procedures in place. He didn't call the people that he needed to call to have come into this meeting. So there's a lot of concern here.
If I'm Paul Manafort's attorneys, and this is all unraveling like this,
right? You file a motion to dismiss
immediately,
which forces the judge to haul Weissman in front of the judge and say, account for yourself what happened in this meeting.
Why didn't he recuse himself, Greg?
Well, he should have. In fact, he should have been fired. I'm looking right in front of me at the Department of Justice regulations. DOJ will not comment about an ongoing investigation. If you do, you're fired. If he gives information or collects information either way from these reporters, he should be fired.
Unbelievable.
I got off the phone or communicated via email with a former DOJ official who was there for more than 10 years. He said, absolutely, Manafort's lawyer should now file a motion to dismiss.
And with 4% in D.C. voting for Trump, they need a change of venue if we have any fairness in our criminal justice system. I'm sorry, Paul Manafort cannot get a fair trial in that area. Do you agree?
Yes, and in fact, Manafort's lawyers have already filed a lawsuit.
All right, we got so many moving parts here. Peter Schweizer, let me get to you. So Hillary, the fix is in with Bernie. The fix is in with Comey and Strzok, exoneration before investigation. She pays for the dossier. She tries to use Russian lies to influence the general election. And then that same dossier is used to get FISA warrants against a candidate and a president-elect. It's based on faulty propaganda lies that she paid for. You cannot make this up in the worst spy novel or most imaginative spy novel I could ever think of.
Sean, this has got to go down as one of the great, if not the greatest, dirty trick in American political history. Because look at what they accomplished with this, or tried to accomplish with this. For this investment with Fusion GPS, they wanted to try to influence the media, which they did. There were all these stories coming out about the FBI's looking around and, you know, Trump's Russian ties in this area of collusion. You also basically got the FBI to take an unsourced document. Keep this in mind. This is very important. Fusion GPS, in Glenn Simpson's testimony, he says, we do open source research. That's what we're known for. That's what we do. There was no open source information in this dossier at all. And that's why Glenn Simpson didn't confirm any of it, because he knew, I think, that there was nothing to it. It was a disinformation campaign.
Like Strzok and Page had an agenda, like Comey had an agenda, and like so many others had an agenda. Sarah, let's go back to the... All right, you broke the story with John Solomon on this program about warrants at Trump Tower before anybody else. I think it was in March.
Yeah.
Of last
it was
year?
in March. Yeah,
Okay.
March of last year.
Right here on this program. Now, the question, now that we know that the dossier was used, I am getting conflicting reports. It was used in some capacity, and it was used in a significant way to get the warrants.
Well, I think, Sean, this is why we need to really have this investigation be made public before the American people. I mean, the House Intelligence Committee is looking into the dossier. The Senate Judiciary Committee is looking at this. We need those answers. I have been told the same. It played a partial role in getting those warrants. It played a significant role in getting those warrants. What we need to know is the truth.
Significant is the word I keep hearing.
Yes, what role did it play? And if it was not verified, and I agree with Peter, look, this dossier...
Did they knowingly lie to a court, the FISA court? Did they knowingly give lies to obtain warrants against a political opponent? Because that makes Watergate basically look like kindergarten compared to this.
Yeah, if they did, yes, it would make it look like, yeah, kindergarten compared to this. But what we need to know is what are in those FBI witness files. What is
Release
it that the House Intelligence Committee...
The public deserves to see it. Greg.
It's a fraud on the court to obtain a warrant with a fraudulent or false document. And you know that DOJ and the FBI knew it was false because all you have to do is look at the dossier. It's based on double, triple, quadruple hearsay, no direct evidence.
So it's not Papadopoulos, Greg, as the media's been lying to us?
And it comes from sources that are well known within the Kremlin to lie and provide disinformation. So DOJ and FBI knew it was fake. They nevertheless used it as a pretext to try to destroy Trump, to launch the investigation, to spy on him after they had already cleared Hillary Clinton, even though they knew she had violated the law.